Hello, everybody. Good evening. I'm so excited for tonight's call. I've been playing with all the notes of the way we should go through this, and I'm so psyched. So, I want to start by hearing from you guys on what your takeaways were from the procrastination to productivity and some celebrations. So, who wants to go?
I need to look
because mine will be a little bit shorter.
Go ahead.
Okay. I've gotten to about the 1 hour mark on the YouTube video. So I'm still working towards that. So far, so good. It's really got me thinking, and you're right, as you hear these things a different time in a different part of your life, a different season, it makes you think a little bit differently. And I was listening to it on my way home from work the other day and trying to listen to it on my commutes and all my free time. And unfortunately, I didn't have, I couldn't sit there and write notes while I was listening to it. But I do know that I definitely have a different thought process, which is very much needed in how do I want to be throughout the rest of this? How do I want to be throughout the video? And how I want to be in my everyday. And that's really been very eye-opening because that's part of some of the things is I focus on I'm getting overwhelmed instead of I can make it through this. There's that thought process. And it's still hard, but if I can be my best version of myself, then that thought process is being kind of pushed away. So hopefully it'll just get further and further and further away. But it's been a very trying couple of days, a week or so, more so than normal. But
Okay.
Good.
Well, I'm glad that you're already hearing things differently. I love that because we've gone through a lot together for the last few months. Well, a lot of months actually. But I love that you're hearing it different. That's huge. That's huge. And that speaks to how much you've up leveled, honestly.
Yeah. And I think of stuff like that, and I guess because it's me and not somebody, like not me looking at somebody else. Like I haven't talked to a friend in a month or something like that. It's weird to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely can. I'm recognizing things sooner. I'm to my breaking point with things, so I needed to take a break and refocus and, move forward and try to be that best version of myself that I will be okay with afterwards. Because when you get so upset about something, that stays with you for a little while. It's hard to get over something that really makes you so upset.
Mm-hmm.
And nipping that in the butt to begin with is a little bit easier with the negative mindset and using my tools.
I love it. It is hard. And I think we think that we do this work and we work on being the best versions of ourselves so that magically we become superwoman. And when anything bad happens, it's okay. We have all the tools and it won't hurt the same. And and it's fallacy a little bit. And I get it because I've done this. I'm like, okay, I have all the tools now. I can literally do anything. Like nothing will slow me down because I have a tool for it, right? But that's kind of unfair and unrealistic to yourself too. Because the reality is the same things that triggered you that much then probably will not trigger you as much as they did then. You probably have more capacity now to handle things, and the things that made you explode 2 years ago are now just like, okay, but there's still going to be things that make you explode. And that's okay. That's okay. I think having this concept or this thought process that we've made it and now all of a sudden we don't have to deal with anything emotional anymore because I have all my emotions under check and control and I have my tools and it all works. I think that expectation is part of what makes us feel like we have, like, keeps us from seeing how far we've come. Because you expect that, Well, I have emotional intelligence now, so I won't break down. Okay. No.
Okay.
Yeah. But I will say that, and I think this is part of what you've noticed, is that you don't recognize the person you were 8 months ago, because the things that bothered you 8 months ago probably wouldn't phase you as much now, because you can handle bigger things now. It's the capacity. So I have this, Lana's heard this before, but I have this concept that we have a cup. You have a cup, and it's your coping cup, okay? And as life happens, it all happens for you so that you can grow your coping cup. But if you carry things around, you grow capacity, you can handle more things. But if you keep carrying things around in your coping cup and it's already half full because you're just not letting things go, and you're carrying around things that don't serve you, as things happen, even if it's bigger, you're still going to overflow. Still going to not have enough room to handle all the things and be able to cope with all the things. And I think what you're saying you've noticed by listening to things that you've heard before, and I don't put words in your mouth, but is that your coping cup has gotten a lot bigger. Which is like, high five. You might still be carrying things that don't serve you, and I think we all do that, but it's so much bigger. And that makes me so proud of you. But like not in a condescending way, like in a very like high five, you're amazing kind of way.
Right.
So, yay. Okay, I'm gonna grab my blanket really quick, and then I want to hear all about what you think here.
Okay.
Ugh. Okay, I can hear you. Go. Sorry, I just needed a blanket. It's cold here.
I have finished the 3-hour call.
Okay.
But I did a lot of it while I was driving because it gives me something good to put into my head while I'm driving. Half an hour here, 20 minutes there.
Love it.
I love listening to replays while I'm driving. It's just like you're putting stuff in. Anyway, between that and what we talked about in our welcome call and thinking about the pillars and just the fact that I really have had so much happen in the last several months. And this week it kind of came to another point where I started feeling overwhelmed, like, okay, something has to give somewhere. And right now I know it's my health. And it's okay to say no to things. And I think there are a couple things that I know that I do not want to do with regards to handling my mother's, some of her stuff. And it may be worth my sanity to say to someone, for example, here's $200, do the thing. Because it's too much for me. I have procrastinated so many things in getting her paperwork in order because I'm POA now. I take care of all that stuff, but I haven't done everything I should have by now, and that weighs on there's a lot of guilt, shame, wishing I'd done it sooner, but it's like, it's hard for me to keep it front and center when so much of my life is changing. I'm not trying to be the bad daughter. I have done so much the last year. I've really been a kick-ass daughter, but there comes a point now it's like, well, I want to do my shit now. You know?
Well, I think it's hard too, especially if it has to do with other people that depend on us. I think it makes it difficult, but sometimes we have to know that what's best for them is you being your best self too.
Yeah. And there are parts of her functioning from a financial standpoint that I could use help with so that I don't have to worry about it, and I'm not carrying that guilt or shame or pressure on my shoulders, and that frees up energy for the things that actually can produce joy or income or whatever it might be.
Which helps the bigger picture anyways.
Right.
I love that. Okay. So I am so excited to jump into this, you guys. So do you guys know what your 5 pillars are? Do you know what the pillars of who you are? Got it? Okay. That's okay. As long as you know, you have an idea. Okay. So part of the other kind of work before this call was to know which 2 are going to be the pillars going into the next 3 months of the year, the last 90 days. So do you guys know what the 2 are?
Health is definitely one of mine.
Okay. What's the other one?
I have to remember what I wrote in my other notebook that's in the car.
That's fine. Okay, you
Hi,
go.
Lana.
Do you want me to say my two?
Yeah, what are your two?
My two are relationships and career/business.
Hey, I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay, cool. So here's what we're going to dive into tonight. Okay. Tonight is going to be a mix of foundation and mindset. And then we'll get into the nitty gritty strategy stuff over the next couple of calls. But I really want to talk a little bit about some mindset stuff because you guys know what your pillars are. You know what the two that you're going to be putting your focus into are. But if our mindset's not in the right place, we won't be able to create what we want to create, right? So I want to spend a little bit of time kind of playing in these two pillars tonight, okay? The two that are going to be the main ones that you're going to be focusing on. So I talked about this in the previous call, the 3-hour call, the bonus call, about layered goals, okay? I want to talk to you guys about layered goals. So I know a lot of different people have a lot of different thought processes on how you should set goals. There's SMART goals and there's like a bazillion. There's people who say don't put anything on goals and just let it flow. And then there's some people who have layered goals, but they look at it differently than I do. There's no wrong answer. The right answer is what feels best to you. And that's why what I teach is what felt best for me, is what works for me. And I feel like is the simplest because it just works for me. There might be some version of this that you mix together that works really good for you. Okay. So I'm not going to tell you that this is the way to do it. What I'm going to say is the best way to do everything that we're going to talk about through this mastermind is what feels best to you and is fun. Now, there's a little asterisk on that. If it doesn't feel good because you're nervous, scared, or you feel like you can't do it, that does not count. Okay? The not feeling good is this just does not feel like it's the right thing for me. I'm not afraid to do it. I'm not afraid that I can't. There's no fear or lack behind it. It's just purely that this doesn't feel like the right method for me. That I'm golden. Go with something else. But if for any reason you're thinking, that's not my thing, it feels wrong, because maybe you're scared, because maybe it's overwhelming, because maybe it's intimidating, that is something we need to work through. And if you notice that, I want you guys to jump in the group and tell us, like, I went to do this thing and it's making me feel overwhelmed. It's making me feel intimidated. It's making me feel like I can't do it, or I'm scared, or fear, or lack, all those things. Those reasons, that's what the mastermind's for. That's why I did this entire thing in a mastermind kind of style where you guys have access to me in the group. When these kind of things come up, show up in the group, find out, ask questions, and let's work through it because I want you guys to feel really good about walking through this. But my concept is that goals belong in layers. And I did not always believe this. There was a time in my life where I set goals based on SMART goals. I would set a SMART goal for everything all the time, and I would continually fail. Because my definition, I don't either. I don't use them at all anymore. There's elements of SMART goals that are great, but there's one part of a SMART goal that I firmly disagree with. We are going to dive right into that, okay? So I am all about having a specific goal. I think it is super important for them to be specific. I think you need to know you can't hit a target that you can't see, right? It's just impossible. So you need to have an idea of what you want to make happen, okay? You do need to have some way to measure it because you can't just throw a dart. Like you got to know the bullseye is there's 3 red circles, there's a red in the middle. Winning is hitting the middle, right? That's a measurable, specific thing, okay? Outside of that, that's really all that I want my goals to have. I want them to be specific and measurable, okay? And they also should be fun. If your goals aren't fun, we need to find a way for them to fit into your pillars, find the mindset reset for them to be fun. Because if they're not fun, I can tell you, that's why you're procrastinating. That's why you're not doing them. That's why they're not happening, right? And they're not just going to happen. It just won't. It just won't, right? So we got to find a way to reframe these in a way that they're fun. Okay, those are really the 3 elements that I feel like goals should have. But I feel like goals should have layers, and there's a reason why. Actually, there's a couple of reasons why. First one is layered goals give you the license to dream. It makes it safe to dream again. Because when you have a layered goal, the way I break layered goals down, there's 3 layers for me, okay? And this is this is my interpretation of how I've learned from multiple different people, okay? So I do work with different coaches, different books. This is how I've interpreted, and this is kind of my modification of it, okay? So my first level of goal is something I know I can do. These are things I know I can make happen, and they are 1,000%, well, not 1,000%, but they're pretty much in my control, and there's something I can set my clock by. It's a goal that I know, okay? So an example of that is eating on point with my nutrition. It's something that I just do. I've worked with a nutritionist for so long at this point that it's second nature for that. And even if I deviate a little bit, like it's just very, I know I can do that. It doesn't take a lot of brain power. I just know, right? The next level is something that I believe I can do, but I've never actually made it happen. It's something probably big. I don't like to put limits on things and say that it couldn't happen right away, but it's pretty big. I believe it's possible, but like it wouldn't just happen. It's not like how much I know I can make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like I know I can do that. That's a goal. My goal was to make lunch and make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that's specific and measurable, I know I can do that. Now, I believe I could make pasta from scratch. Never done it. Seems a little intimidating. Not even really sure where I'd probably start with Google, right? But like, that would be I believe I could do it, but it's probably not just gonna like, I can't just walk in and be like, and pasta, like not like I could with peanut butter and jelly, right? Like peanut butter and jelly, like no brain. I could be listening to a podcast, talking to my husband, and doing 3 other things, and I could still conquer peanut butter and jelly, like no brain power whatsoever. But if I was gonna make pasta, I believe I could do it, but it would definitely take some intention. Okay. The final level I call are the holy shiz goals. Okay. These are things that if they happened tomorrow, all you could say is holy shiz. Like what in the actual F? Like I don't even know. Like if I was able to make one of those desserts that like it's chocolate and then they pour the chocolate and the whole thing like breaks and it all just comes out and there's like something in the middle. That if I made that, just like walked in the kitchen and that would be like holy shiz. There'd just be no other reaction. It'd just be like, I just did that. I'm not even sure how. Like, I don't even know how. I'm gonna eat it. It's wonderful, but I don't even know how this just happened. Okay. So those are like the 3 levels of goals. This is what I believe to be layers of goals. Okay. Why does this matter? I like to have the possibility that anything could happen. I like to keep my mind open that I could decide to make that chocolate fondue wonderful, like what is that called? Like a it was like it's like I'm talking about the chocolate desserts that are like a chocolate dome and then they just like I want to believe
they melt it.
Yeah, they like melt it and it's like right? It's like so I've never
awesome.
even seen one in real life, right? So that's why it'd be so holy shiz for me. Even if Ryan just brought one home, I'd be like, but where did you get it? Like I don't even know. But I want to live in a world where that's possible. I want to live in a world where some point in my life, probably because somewhere on some cobblestone street, eating a baguette, someone's going to bring me this dessert. Like, I want that to be part of my possibility. I want that to be my role. I also don't want it to be the expectation that it's going to happen tomorrow because then I'll be disappointed. Because if it doesn't happen, I'll feel like I failed because I don't have this chocolate dessert. This is like the worst analogy ever, but it's fine. Okay. It gives you the ability and the capacity to believe in the unbelievable. Okay? I live in Amarillo. I don't think anyone makes those here. Not that I'm aware of. So for me, it would be like believing in the unbelievable that would just show up at my house, especially if I was the one that made it. Okay? But I want to live in a world where unbelievable things happen. And so by having layered goals like this, you get to live in a world where the most unbelievable things are possible for you. The most unbelievable versions of your life, the most unbelievable accomplishments, they get to be possible in this reality of building your life like this. You get to have anything you want be in your world. Because we look at these holy shiz goals on a regular basis. So I get to look at my holy shiz goals, and I have them all written down, and it's hilarious sometimes. If someone just like literally came over to my house, grabbed my notebook, and started reading these goals, they would think I lost my freaking mind. They'd be like, girl, who do you think you are writing this kind of stuff down? Like, what world do you live in where this is possible? Like, what are you even doing? That's what your holy shiz goals should be. They should be the things that if anyone else read it, Maybe your spouse wouldn't think you were totally crazy, but they'd be like, girl, right? This is the possibility of what your life can be over your lifetime. Okay? So that's why I believe in having these, because I lived in a world where I set my SMART goals and I would set these goals with a timeline on them. And when I didn't make these crazy, audacious things happen in that timeline, I failed. And then I would fail again. And I would fail again. And then I got to the point where it was so hard to keep failing that I would start playing smaller, because then I'd have an excuse. Because me stomaching with the fact that I wasn't good enough, I'm an Enneagram 3. If you haven't had an Enneagram, I'm a success driven. I'm driven by hitting my goals. That's what makes me feel good about myself. That's what, I mean, I feel like other people love me because of what I can do. Like, it's a total mind. It's something I'm working through, but that's how I'm wired, right? So it made me question my core of who I was, right? Would anybody love me if I couldn't hit these goals, right? So by allowing yourself to not put time on things, on these really cool things that you know in your whole lifetime you probably couldn't make happen. At some point, I'm going to eat that chocolate cake. It's going to happen. Like, in my lifetime, I totally believe that to be possible, and I will eventually eat it, and I'm going to like post it, and you guys are going to see it, and you're going to laugh so hard when you see me eating this chocolate cake.
You just need to go to a really good Italian or French restaurant somewhere.
Not
And
where
they very well
they don't exist. They don't have it here, but I will find it. I will be on it. This is, and now I'm like postulating this cake. So
we'll have the melting globe dessert.
Yes, I'm like, I want the chocolate dome thing, please, right?
So they put the hot chocolate sauce and it just goes.
Yeah, see, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So there's ones I've seen on Instagram or Facebook or somewhere where like a flower comes out or something, and I'm like must be like Japan or something. They do crazy desserts like that. So it gives you the license to dream, and I think that's so important, because it keeps you from putting limitations on what you believe to be possible in your life. Second thing it does is it allows you, by having layers like this, you get to celebrate even the things that happen that you believed could happen. I believed I could make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and when I do, I made a sandwich. Because you're hitting your goal. You're making things happen. And I think what happens so much, and why I've been trying to get you guys to celebrate in the group, is that we have a tendency, and I learned this from a mentor of mine, we have a tendency to let the things that are small just phase away because we expect it. We expect to make a peanut butter. I'm 30 years old. What kind of human couldn't make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Like, you're 30. Like, good job, right? Like, it's not something that a normal 30-year-old will celebrate. But you know what? My hand still works today. And I got creamy, not crunchy. And if you're a crunchy person, you're weird. That's not how you eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You eat it creamy. I knew I'd get somebody on that. It has to be creamy, and it has to be the right kind of, but like you celebrate that. And when you celebrate those little things, it changes everything about your life. It really does. And when you can celebrate little things because the little things are working, and you can have those goals that you can do. Like, I know that I can rock my nutrition. I still celebrate that sucker every single week. When I turn in my numbers to my coach, I'm like, and I rocked it again. Yeah. Like, she expects me to. I've been working with her for 10 months. At this point, she expects me to hit my numbers. But every time I'm like, do you see? Yeah, right on. Like, it's not, but that's I choose to live in a world where I celebrate the little things. And by having your layers of goals, it reminds you that, yeah, I knew I could do this in my business this month. I knew I could sell $100 worth of product. I knew that. But you celebrate it, because celebration is so much fun, and it changes your whole vibe. And somebody who lives that way attracts the things that they want, right? Other big thing that it does is it helps you to focus on what actually creates your holy shiz dream. So when you are focusing on what you know can happen or what you believe can happen, they are ultimately elements of the holy shiz reality. Okay? So best example I can think of this, and I'll just use my own business as an example. I know that I can run programs. I can have a few clients. I can work full time. I know I can do all these things. I believe that I can work my business and help people. And now that I've got my new consulting offer, be able to get to the point where this is my full time. I believe that's possible. But if it happened tomorrow, I probably would say holy shiz, to be honest. It's almost a holy shiz for me. But it's more believable. I believe in the next 6 months or so that my business will be sustainable to the point that I can have a choice if I would like to go full time with my business or continue working full time. I believe that. Holy shiz is if tomorrow I had 20 people in my inbox all wanting to hire me for consulting, and I was gonna have to quit my job to be able to do this because I had 20 people in my inbox and I just like made way more than I've ever like just right. I can't even like wrap my head around that, right? I figure it out. I totally figure it out. But it's one of those, right? So by doing that, what creates the long-term goal? The thing that creates the holy crap, I can quit my job because I have 20 people in my inbox. What creates that is the things that I know. I know I can create my programs. I know I can run my masterminds. I know that I can help consulting clients. Those are all things I know. I believe that I can create enough business in my business, help enough people, change enough lives that it can help me to become doing this full time. I know that, right? So the things that I know I can do and the things that I believe I can do, like going into more networking groups, putting myself out there, doing my podcast, those are all things I believe are possible, but I haven't done yet. Those are the things that creates that holy shiz if I have 20 people in my inbox and it's time for me to quit my job. So when you focus on these levels of goals, you're doing these things that you know every day that actually create the holy shiz life that you didn't even realize you were creating. But if you were just focused on creating the holy shiz life of I'm quitting my job for 20 people, until I had 20 people in my inbox, I'd feel like I was failing. And I'm not, because I have wonderful people in front of me. I have a wonderful opportunity to help the people that are in front of me. And if I didn't take that seriously, and I didn't love the fact, like, so here's the thing, this happens a lot. I know you guys aren't coaches, but this happens a lot with coaches. And I think, Erica, you're looking into coaching, aren't you? That's something you want to do eventually?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have an intuitive side that I'm finding is coming. People are coming to me without. It's hard to get into it. I just know as I'm maturing, that part of me is coming forward more.
Oh,
And
I love
people just start telling me things and I don't know why.
You're
And
like,
then suddenly I have the answer for them.
that's amazing.
So it's sort of like how Theo functions sometimes.
Yeah, Theo's Bob.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I have a similar connection, but not quite as intense.
In a group. I said Theo's a mutual friend that we have in a group. She's really, really sweet. She lives in Portland, actually. But this happens even with clients. And this will happen with you guys. This happens with, with your real estate. It's going to happen with what you do, Lana. It's you have one, but you wanted 5. And we take for granted the one, but really the one that we knew we could work with, that we knew we could create the result in, that 5 more times gets you what you wanted, and you did it once, so why couldn't you do it 5 times, right? And that creates the 25 and the big, right? So the big holy shiz, oh my gosh, right? So I'm really excited for this. Okay. Now, do you guys have any questions about the layers of goals and how they work? So what you know, what you believe, holy shiz. I want you guys to take a couple minutes. I'm going to set a timer. I want, knowing what your guys' 2 pillars are going to be, I want you guys to lay out the 2 pillars that you're going to walk into this quarter, the 2 main ones, okay? I want you to write out what you know you can do in them, what you believe, and what your holy shiz would be in each of those 2 pillars, just the 2, okay? So I'm going to give you guys like 3 minutes. I'll give you 5. We'll give you 5. We'll do 5. I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes to knock that out, and then we will chat about it because I'm excited for what's next.
Hey, Lana, you might want to turn down your volume because I actually need to ask her a bunch of questions regarding this, so you don't have to be like interrupted.
Oh, no, you're good. Go ahead. Go ahead and ask. We'll wait before we start.
I can't remember exactly what it was I wrote in my other notebook. So I need some help kind of breaking this down.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. I know health is a pillar.
Okay.
That's a definite. Relationships, my marriage. Like this week, I've had amazing contact with my friends again, getting them back involved. Relationships are super important to me.
Okay.
I kind of lump personal development, personal growth, and faith kind of all together because for me, it's the big picture. I see things very universally, so that's kind of lumped together.
Okay.
And then I listed career,
Okay.
which is important.
Uh-huh.
And you'd think it'd be one of my big ones right now because I'm starting. But in my heart, that's not the most important one right now.
That's okay. You're not going to not do it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then another one I wrote was financial growth / intelligence.
Okay.
But is that something that should fall under personal growth or personal development? And then I need to pick a different.
With my finances, when it comes to finances, I put it in two different categories. I put it in my personal development and I put it in my business. For me.
That's a really good idea.
Because to me, depending on what I'm doing, it falls into both. So my financial outlook and money mindset is very much my personal development. But my financial, the way I manage my life and everything, and honestly, it falls a little bit in relationships because I'm navigating through finances with a spouse, and that has been uniquely challenging in a good way, but we're working through it together, so it's fine, but it's definitely been uniquely challenging. But I still kind of consider that part of my personal development because I think it has forced me from an emotionally intelligent standpoint to manage that situation in a way that creates the result that I want. So
I know what you mean.
so when it comes to my finances, and then creating money for me is like my business. So I feel like money falls and finances falls into two different places.
Okay, got it. Okay.
That help with money?
So I finally recalled my fifth one.
Okay.
Just like Melanie does, I have a category in my life I call beauty, music, and art. That has always been a huge value for me.
Yeah.
When those things come forward in my life and I give them, because that's who I was when I was a child. That's what I did instinctively. As long as those things are in my life, I'm good. If I don't give them enough love, I'm not so good. And my energy just completely falls apart. Okay.
So good that
Thank
you know
you.
that.
That helped. What?
So good that you know that. A lot of people don't know.
Yeah. Okay, I have my 5 now. I'm good.
Okay. So going into this next season, and remember when you pick the two that are going to be the two main pillars going into the next season, it does not mean that you're not going to do things in the other pillars. So when I say I'm walking into this next quarter, the next 3 months of the year, and the two pillars that are going to take the biggest precedence for me is my business and my relationships, because of what I know the reality is over the next 3 months, it does not mean I'm going to stop working out or stop doing my health. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden I'm not going to do any personal development, because I'm in off the top of my head, I'm in 4 programs, a mastermind. Like I have so much going on in a personal development from now and the end of the year. It just is not it's not my main thing. I'm not putting everything into it. I'm going to show up, I'm going to do it, I'm going to come for what I came for, but it's not going to be. There was a time in my life, like last August, when I took my first program that I invested in a lot of money. Personal development was my pillar then. I didn't know any of this. I didn't have this language then, but that was a priority. I would listen to those replays all day long, every day. Every ounce of my energy went into more books and more information, and it was a consumption time for me. And
I get it.
Yeah, that was my pillar. So it's not that you're not going to do the other things. It's that my consumption, my energy, any extra that I have, my passion is going into my business and my relationships.
Right.
So when you look at that, let's look at what your 3 levels of goals are in those 2 main things. So for me, like I said, it's business and relationships. I know what my holy shiz is in my business and what I believe and what I know in my business. And I have all 3 of those for my relationships too. So knock that out really quick, and then we will jump into the next section for tonight. So excited for the next section. You guys are going to love it so much. But I'll give you guys like what, 4 minutes? You think you can knock it out in 4 or 5 minutes? I don't want to press you too much. If you don't finish it, you don't necessarily need it for the next thing, but I just wanted to give you guys some time. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes starting now.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm going to close my camera so I'm not distracting. Okay, we are at 5 minutos. Okay, do you guys have kind of an idea of where you're at on what your 3 levels of goals are?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you make sure not to sandbag on the things that you know? Do you have a few things there of things you know you can make happen in those?
Yeah.
Okay. Is your holy shiz goal actually a holy shiz goal? When you read it, it should make you cringe a little because you're like, oh, that'd be so crazy. That should be the reaction.
My health one is.
Okay. Okay. What about you?
Predictable is get blood and DNA tests to check all my hormones and everything.
Okay.
Consult a nutritionist, which I'm doing tomorrow.
Okay.
It's a integrative and functional medicine facility.
Awesome.
So kind of like what Dr. Rachel does. Okay. But locally, and then I can respond by adjusting any meds or nutritional supplements that I currently take. Those are things I know I can do. It requires no stress.
Right.
Possible is if they give me a nutrition plan and I can actually follow it.
Okay.
Because that's really hard for me.
For sure. There was a time in my life it was really hard for me too. I promise you. I talk about that. I probably shouldn't have talked about that one because I know that's probably one but it's something that was so hard for me. It was so hard.
I get it.
Yeah.
And I want to get Larry on board because I obviously have a lot of weight to lose, but he could stand to lose a few pounds, but you can't, it's hard to do it as a couple, do it as an individual when you're in a couple and you're buying groceries, and just want to get him on board for that. And then holy shit goal for me would be getting, like you said, getting your nutrition to the point where you've integrated the habits. Mm-hmm. You just do the damn thing. Yay! Without having to think about, like, that to me seems impossible. Like compared to where I am right now. I mean, I know it's possible, but that to me would be like, oh, like the heavens have opened kind of thing.
I love it. Those are good. Those are so good. Okay, Lana.
That would massively change my life.
Oh yeah, it for sure would.
Right, because I just want to feel good and be energetic. Okay. Do we do my other one now?
You do your other one really quick, and then we'll go to Lana.
Huh?
You do your other one, and then we'll go to Lana.
Okay.
I'm just so excited.
I feel fuzzy about the second one. I'm really not sure if it's the right one or not. My gut will figure it out.
Yeah.
I chose relationships. Predictable is I have a weekly meal with at least one of my friends.
Okay.
This week was an anomaly that I'm getting to see everybody, which is nice. Possible is that since this is the first house that actually has my name on the deed, I would love to have an open house. I always get really intimidated about having people over because it stresses me out, like more than a couple of people, because I always feel like I'm constantly being judged. But we've got this beautiful new home, and I would just like to say, okay, we're gonna have a 6-hour period. You want to stop by, and that way reconnect with some people. That'd be a challenge for both of us. I might pay for it energetically the next day, but
that's okay.
Yeah, and I don't even know what the potential would be.
The holy cow goal. In your relationships. What if you and your husband went on a trip?
We do that all the time, though. We're spoiled.
Okay, what's something that would just be crazy? Like, is your family's somewhat close, right? They all live close by.
No. The only family I have around here is my mom, and she's, in Alzheimer's world. No, I just can't. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about it. I don't know what would be mind-blowing to me with regards to relationships.
And that's something you can work on too in the visualization of really focusing on what it looks like in 10 years or something in your relationship, whether that's your current relationship or just relationships and friends as a whole. Maybe the holy shiz is the week you've had this week, having 3 more of those where you have lunch with everyone and you get to see everybody. Maybe that's like the, oh my gosh.
Right. It's like for me, what I'm kind of feeling is it's just the reconnection and not networking for networking's sake.
Right.
But reconnecting with friends with the person I am now, not the person I was even 6 months or a year ago.
I love it.
Yeah.
It could be a holy shiz in itself.
Yeah.
Okay, Lana, what are yours?
She's the fuzzy pink girl.
I love it.
I know this blanket's really
Cold
warm.
here. Like it's 51 degrees in Amarillo. It's cold.
Comparative to our 90 degrees, 100
3 days
degrees.
ago. Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
All right. So my first pillar was my biz slash career. So I kind of broke those. I broke those up because I think of them separately.
Okay.
My biz, my what I know I can do. I know I can do one party a month. I know I can do that. That doesn't necessarily happen unless you make it happen. So I know I can do that, or find one, whatever I need to do. I believe I can retail 5,000 a month. That's kind of like my next stop goal. But it takes a lot of work. It's like a very stressful type month. My holy shiz, and the way that in my head was, I would crap myself if this happened. Like that's the only way I can think of it, is if I had a $10,000 month at the point that I am now, because that's like, I cannot possibly think that that would happen for me the way it is right now. But it's very exciting. Like I get really, I wish I could do that. My career, this isn't something that I've thought too much about, but I really need to, because I've realized that when I don't keep them active separately, one of them goes to the back burner, not in a good way.
Yep.
And so I've been really trying to work on making sure that I have time for my business, and that when I'm at work, I'm at work. And so I know I can stay on top of things and bill out 35 hours a month. That's pretty consistent, a little bit more. But that's something that I know I can do with the way that things are right now. Like as they're happening and things are changing, I still think that I can do this. The staying on top of things is, the little asterisk there, because yeah.
Yeah.
So I believe I can catch up our drafting and take on new responsibilities here on. So a whole bunch of stuff got dropped on my plate last week, for the past week. And it's things that I've never done before, never had to think about, never had to be responsible for. And in addition to all of our cases and stuff like that. So, but I do believe that I can take on what I have right now once I get used to it.
Okay.
And it becomes more familiar. And to also bill out 75 hours a month. That is definitely a stretch goal if I'm not in like a jury trial or something like that.
Okay.
My holy shiz, again, I would crap myself if I became board certified, which is something that I've actually gone to take my board certification test 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
But I failed it.
Okay.
But again, there's attorneys that are failing this test at 10 years in practice. So I guess I can't really, beat myself up too much. I tried it at the first opportunity that I can try it. So I thought that I didn't want to go for that again, but that's like the ultimate paralegal accomplishment, is to be a board certified paralegal in addition to a board certified attorney. So I really want to do that. Like it's a lot of work. And then take care of our files and bill out 100 hours a month. It's like if all three of those things happened, I would be, or even really just one of those things, I would be, All right. And then my second pillar was relationship pillar. I know I can be a good mom, wife, daughter, granddaughter, so forth, and keep those relationships in good functioning order. through whatever I control. I know I can't control somebody else getting mad about something,
Right.
but making sure that I'm having those relationships and not putting, like, making sure my close family is there. I believe I can see my immediate family twice a month, which is something kind of important to me. I like the weekly dinners and stuff like that. What I don't like is it having to revolve around other people. Really, I just want to say dinner's at 5 on Sunday and they all show up. Like, I'll do everything else. You just got to show up. That's not how it works. But my holy shiz was I would crap myself if we became a power couple. Let's see if I can read my able to spend as much time with our family as we wanted to and financially support them. So like both of our parents are not, like, they make it in their lives, but they don't have any extras. And I already spoil my mom, but like I would want to be able to take care of our family and take those financial worries away.
Can I say one thing really quick before we keep going?
Yeah.
This is you need to go back and like watch the first couple clarities. Go watch those for a sec. Because the person who just told me their goals, what you believe to be possible has expanded so much that I just want to like hug you through the screen. Like
I really should.
Like seriously, because there was a time when the most you could believe to be possible was to maybe do $4,000 in your business, maybe. And now you know that you can do what you're doing. You think it's possible to do 5, and you were like, I'd crap my pants if it was 10, but that didn't even freak you out. And before, when we talked about you doing 4, you were like, that's my biggest. I can't believe anything more than 4. That's just a lot. Like what? Like, and so this whole other version of you who wants to be board certified. This is the same person who not even 8 months ago was like, I hate everything about being a paralegal. It's awful. You know? So like what you believe to be possible has expanded so much. That is so freaking cool. The whole time I was just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. It's so amazing. I just love it. Okay. So I love that you guys have layers. I love that you guys know where the focus is. And it's funny, even as you were talking, I made a note because I've noticed in myself when I merge my two together, I feel like I'm like when I say my two, my job, my career, and my business, I feel like I'm letting something down and I feel like I'm not being where I should be. So I liked the way you did that. And I think I might actually do the same thing for me. So see, you learn when you're in all of these things. It's amazing. Okay. So this next one is kind of big and we only have a few minutes left, but super, super important. Okay. And then I'll leave the other part that I was going to do tonight. We'll leave it for coursework because there's a day in between now and the next call. So there's time to get that in. So we started talking about different layers. Okay. One of the biggest shifts that I have made for myself that has made all the difference in the world for me going from setting goals and failing to setting goals, hitting them, and continuing to love every second of it is the way in which I define my success. Okay. So what you guys need to think about, and you guys already talked about some of this stuff, and I was like, oh, when you redefine what success is, these things that seem like you believe you could do but freak you out, don't anymore. Because what success really is who you are, who you're showing up as, and what you can control. Because defining your success by things you can't control will always set you up for failure. Now, I'm not saying don't have holy shiz goals. Don't have goals that are really big and crazy and like you don't even know how it would happen, right? But don't decide that if you don't hit that holy shiz goal that you failed. Because it's out of your control. It's big. It's so big, right? There's things you can do over time that might create it, but it's a big thing, right? So what I want you guys to really think about is that when you are setting these goals of what you know you can make happen and what you believe you can make happen, success does not necessarily equal the result you wrote down. Success is you showing up as the person who creates that. You can control that. You can control who you are when you show up. You can control what you're doing. You can't necessarily, so like I know for you, Erica, one of your goals has to do with your health and maybe losing weight, all those things. You cannot control if you lose 5 pounds in a week. So you setting your goal around that being that I'm going to lose 5 pounds in this time frame, you cannot control if you lose weight. What you can control are the elements that create that. I'm going to work
behaviors.
Yeah, I'm going to work with my nutrition. I'm going to eat on point. I'm going to do what they tell me as far as nutrition goes. I'm going to move my body X amount, whatever. I'm not telling you how to lose weight. I'm just using examples.
Right. My goal is health. It's not, the weight is a byproduct of everything going on in my body. Exactly.
And that mindset is partially why this is so in line with that of what are the things that create that result? What makes me feel healthy? Eating nutrient-dense foods, moving my body, getting enough water, making sure I'm eating enough of the right foods and the right, that's the biggest thing when it comes to nutrition. It's not necessarily how much you eat. My nutritionist has bumped me so much on my caloric intake. It's kind of crazy, but it's getting the right mix, right? For you to feel good. And like, I've noticed some stuff in my health lately, and we've been talking about it because I've been getting these like weird tummy things. And I think maybe it's grapes. Like I was actually just messaged her during our little break because I was like, maybe I ate grapes, so now I feel funny again. So like, you're just playing with that, right? Totally off topic. But success in my nutrition is the things in my control. Success in my business is not going to be that I have 5 clients. No. Success is going to be showing up for the clients that I have. Success is going to be showing up in the communities that I run for myself and looking for collaborations and finding ways that I can put myself out there and speak my message in a way that creates those kinds of results, that creates clients wanting to work with me, right? So one of the biggest pieces of this, okay, and this one is really tough, okay? And this is what I want you guys to, we're going to take a couple minutes. I really want you to think about this, okay? Who do you have to be that person? Who do you have to be the person who does those things? The things that are in your control, that create the result. What does that person look like? What is the person who eats on point with their nutrition? What is the person who has the meetings booked? Who do you have to be? Not what do you have to do, but who do you have to be that person? And this is the kicker one right here. What do you have to let go of to be that person? What limiting belief, what thing are you carrying around that doesn't serve you, that is keeping you from being the person you know you can be, the person you know you need to be to do this? What limiting belief, what thing in your head is keeping this from happening? So I'll put myself on the line here, okay? When it comes to me building my business, I have limiting beliefs just like everybody else, right? We all do. New level, new devil, like the saying, right? So for me, something I have to let go of for me to be the person that I need to be to create these results is that doing equals love. Love me for what I do. It's something that I have been working through and I've made progress on, but it's still not there. So for me to be the person who shows up authentically, gives the info, tells people how to do, tells you like, okay, I can help you with these things and I can make this reality in your business, in your life with the consulting and all the things. I have to let go of, I have to do things for people to love me. That's big, right? That's not serving me. And that's
I used to be you.
Yeah, that's something I carry around. I'm working on it. But that's a tough one. And it's hard to let go of that. And when that happens, it means that I feel like if I don't do things, people aren't gonna work with me. Right? So there's different things that are gonna be different for everybody. But there's something that you're holding on to that doesn't serve you. Something that keeps you from being the person that you know you have to be to do those, to make that thing happen. Okay? Kind of a heavy one. It may not come this fast. For most of you, you probably, when I said, what are you carrying around that doesn't serve you anymore, you probably knew pretty quick. The first time someone asked me that question, I started crying. And I was like, I don't even know why I'm crying. I don't even know, right?
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do. That's why you're crying.
Yeah, immediately, right? So
Right.
you guys are here as humans who want to do incredible things. You just told me these are just two of your pillars of your lives that you guys just shared with each other, of these incredible dreams, incredible holy shiz, crap your pants kind of things, right? That are just huge. Like supporting your families, like making nutrition easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? These huge, awesome, amazing things, right? And you're completely capable of all these things. Because if you believe them to be possible, they are within your world. They are possible. But there's something between where you are and where that is. There's a reason you haven't been there yet. There's something that you don't believe is possible in you, that you don't believe that you can do, or that is holding you back from being that person. Whether it's because you think that you haven't learned enough, like you don't know enough, you're not ready, or it's scary, or what happens if it works, what happens if it doesn't. There's like a bazillion reasons why. But there's something between where you are and where you want to go, and there's a weight that you're carrying at the moment that you have to let go of, that is keeping you from being the person that you need to be to create that result. Now, I'm not saying it's keeping you from getting the result, because doing is not what gets you the result. It's who you're being. That's why I want you guys to focus your success on the person that shows up, the things you can control, right? But there is something that you are carrying that is holding you from being that person. So what I want you guys to work through, and I'm going to let you guys work through this because I know it's already past our time, and I want to be respectful of your guys' time. I want you guys to work through what it is that you are carrying that's holding you back. I want you guys to really deep into it and look at, who do I have to be? What does that version of me look like? What, like the person who creates this reality, who does this goals, who creates these actions within my control, right? This is all within my control because these are my actions, how I show up. What's keeping me from being that person? And we gotta let that shiz go. So if you need to journal through it and then burn it, by all means. But you gotta figure out what that thing is for you. Because the minute that you can say it and you have it and you know, we can work through it. We can. I promise you. Because we can start using tools against it. And every time I think in my head, I have to show up or people won't want to work with me, I have my tools. Can I prove it in a court of law? Does this even make any sense? What the heck am I even talking about? That's crazy, right? I don't want to live in a world where that's what that is. We'll work through that. But you got to know what it is so that when it comes up and you start to feel that feeling, you know exactly what it is and we can combat it with what we need to so you can keep walking. Because we can set all these great goals. We can have all these great intentions, but when the rubber meets the road, there's something that kept you from getting there already, and we got to know what it is, or we can't kick it this time it comes up again, because it's going to. It will. It always has. It has every time. Or you'd already be there, and it would just be easy and integrated, and you'd be on the next thing, right? So we got to figure out what it is, okay? So that's part of the work you guys got to look at is, what is the thing, what is the anchor that's keeping you from being able to show up as the person you know you need to show up as to create that result, okay? Next big thing, so that's going to be part of the work that you guys can do over between now and the next call. The other thing I want you to journal through, in addition to that, as far as what's the anchor, is no BS. What would it take for you to hit this goal? No BS. What's all the potential things that you could do, like just brainstorm, that I could hit this goal. So if the goal is to sell $4,000, that's your kind of your stretch goal. $4,000, 4 or 5. Why am I'm stuck on 4 from before? $5,000 of product. What are all the ways? No BS. This is what it would take. Brainstorm all the things. Okay. When you finish the brainstorm, I want you to highlight the funnest one, the easiest one, and the hardest one. Okay? So you're going to brain dump all the potential things, no BS, no, none of, like, no BS. This is all it would take. These are all the possible things that it would take to do this, okay? And then you're going to highlight the easiest, the most fun, and the hardest one, okay? And then between now and then, I want you to do the easiest one. Just do the easiest one. Conquer a thing. Check it off the list. Pick the easiest one and do it. It'll be so fun.
I'm already doing it tomorrow.
Perfect. You can be ahead of the game. I'm down. As long as you're doing it, I'm good. Okay? So, between now and our next call, which is on Saturday, I want you guys to do the one easy thing. I want you guys to identify what you're carrying around that's keeping you, that limiting belief, whatever it is, that's keeping you from being able to be the person who shows up and is able to get these results, because they're showing they can show up. Because something's keeping you from showing up as that person. So what is it? Okay? And then Saturday, we are going to jump all in on some strategy stuff, okay? We're going to go straight into how to actually take all this stuff and get it on a paper, okay? So between now and Saturday, make sure you have your stickies of some sort, whatever felt best to you, calendar kind of ready, and make sure you know what your non-negotiables are between October, November, and December. Like Christmas Day, perfect. Love it, Lana. Christmas Day is a non-negotiable. That's what I mean by that. Because unless you don't celebrate Christmas, I guess then maybe it wouldn't be a non-negotiable. Thanksgiving, because you're an American and you should eat turkey. I'm gonna go with that.
And pumpkin pie stuff. Yeah.
And pumpkin pie, yes, and maybe pecan pie, and maybe
all pie.
And food, lots of food. So make sure that you know what your non-negotiables are for the next 3 months, okay? And bring that to the next call, and we're gonna rock it. When you guys figure out what you're carrying and what those things are, jump in. If you struggle with this, or if you conquer it, come tell us in the messenger group. If you're struggling with it, come tell us in the messenger group. And keep celebrating all the things. I love when you guys celebrate in the chat. It makes me so happy. It really does. I love it. So, any questions or anything before you have a question? All right, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. On our, what would it take to hit my goal? Are we just picking something that we want, or are we talking all of them that we talked about tonight?
Sorry, good question. So in my head, you know what you can do, right? Those you're already going to hit. When I focus on my quarterly goals, I try to pick something that I believe is possible. So I pick kind of my middle goal. So when you're looking at writing down all the things that it would take to make that happen, I usually do that based on my middle goal. Because my holy shiz goal is probably just, I don't know, not necessarily out of reach, but like that's like a really big thing, right? If you want to do it around do what?
In both pillars.
Yeah. If you want to do it around your holy shiz goal, by all means, go for it. Because, I mean, no BS, what would it take falls into both categories. And if you want to start, so like what we're going to do is we're going to build kind of a, I don't want to call it a road, we're going to look at where you want to end. We're going to look at all the different ways in the middle, and then we're going to put a plan together, right? So to me, your holy shiz is like the ending destination. And that would be something, if we were going to talk about a yearly plan or a 6-month plan, I would say go to that. But if we're talking about just the next couple of months, I want to go with what you guys believe is possible and build it around that. I do quarterly planning based on what's possible, and I do like 6-month and yearly planning based on like, right? And that's how I like brainstorm down. Does that help? Okay. So if we were doing a 6-month plan, then I would say, let's start with the big one. No BS, what would it take to make that happen? And honestly, this is kind of a fun exercise anyways, especially with the fact that both of you guys have holy shiz goals or crap your pants goals that are really big. And sometimes they seem so big, but when you sit down and you're like, no BS, what would it really take for me to do this? And you brainstorm that out, it can become really clear that it's really not as scary as you thought. That's why we do this. When it's a big thing like that, it's really hard. But when you break it down into a bunch of little pieces, it's an elephant, and you just eat it one bite at a time, right? So do whatever feels best to you. If you want to do the holy shiz and that you want to just go all out, let's do it. I'm game. But if you want to just do what you believe, I'm down for that too. But I think this is a great way to take big, crazy things and figure out what your first move is. Because you'll be surprised if you wanted to map out, being a power couple and having financial freedom for you and your family, and it was like no BS, what would it take to make that happen? And you really sat there and brainstormed it out. I think you'd be surprised how much of it is not that hard to walk into. You could just do one of those things and then another one and then another one. And then before you know it, you're like well on your way. So yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
I think I'm going to change my second pillar.
Okay. That's perfect. I'm good. That's why, honestly, I usually go through this, what we're going to go through over the next couple of weeks. I usually go through this in a couple of days for my upcoming quarter. But I usually do these, like, if it was in October, I would have done this in, like, September.
Right.
Right? Sometimes even earlier. And as my business grows and my life changes, I started doing this even sooner. I'm, like, a quarter or 2 quarters ahead. But
Right.
we're going to do this in bite-sized pieces. But as you're going, you, like, realize, yeah, this isn't really where I want my focus to be this or that or whatever.
Right. And it's not even something that I want to do. It's something that if I get it done, my life will be better.
Mm-hmm. Well, and part of it too, this brainstorm piece that we did and all the pieces we just did breaking down your one pillar, by all means do it with all of them. I know these things in all my pillars. Does that mean that my focus going into the next quarter is all of them? No. But I know what my holy shiz goal is in all of my pillars. I know what I believe goal is in all my pillars. And when I say they're not my focus, I'm still doing the things that I know in those pillars, and I'm still working towards what I believe. I'm just not going all in all my energy on those because I can't do that many things at once. But I still know what holy shiz looks like, even in my fitness. So like now I know I can hit my numbers, but holy shiz to me is at some point being in such good shape that like if I wanted to like go for a run, I wouldn't die. That's my holy shiz right now. Am I doing anything at this point to really create that? I'm lifting some, I'm working out, I'm kind of working in bed, getting in better shape, but it's not like I've signed up for a marathon and I'm like all in, right? But I'm still working towards that in some way. But I know that holy shiz would be like, I just ran a marathon. That I don't even like, I can't, like I just can't, right? But like, I know what that is for me in that category. Does that make sense?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
you can run through this exercise. I have it with all of mine. It's just when we're focusing on your actual strategic planning for an upcoming quarter, if you focus on all of it, it becomes really overwhelming.
Yeah.
You've got all these goals and all these levels and all these things, and you're like, I don't even know. You can't. And then you're just
that sound you made is very accurate.
Yeah, it's because I've integrated. I understand.
Burns.
Exactly. So it's fun to know, and you've got to just decide that this is what my attention's going to, and I'm going to get to what I believe over the next few months in this particular piece of my life, and then maybe the next maybe that pillar stays as your priority, and you're at your holy shiz before you know it. So.
And then you recalibrate up again.
We do. So this exercise that we're doing right now, I do every quarter. And the things that I've now integrated that are things I know that like my nutrition at one point in my life was something I believed but didn't actually know I could do. There was a point in my life that eating this on point was a holy shiz.
Yeah, I'm where you were.
Yeah. But I've
recalibrated. You know how overwhelming it feels.
Oh, 1,000%. But now that it's something that I know I can do, I've recalibrated, and now, like a marathon wasn't even a holy shiz. It was like an FU. Like it was so far. Like it was just like there's no way, right? And now I'm like, holy shiz, I could run a marathon. I guess. I don't think I want to, but that's a holy shiz, right? But there was a time when that was so unbelievable that it was like, It wasn't
Get
even
out of here.
yeah, it wasn't even like, oh, I can't believe I just did that. It was like, yeah, right. You know, so like
That's so funny.
that's why it's so important for you to have layers of goals like this, because as things move from holy to, or as they move from yeah freaking right to holy shiz to I believe and then integrated, there might be a time in my life where I'm a runner. I don't know. I believe that there's a possibility in my life where I run a couple miles a day, which sounds so weird to say out loud. I don't know why. I don't know. Anyways,
I could do it in college. That was literally the only time. I've never liked running when I was a kid.
never liked running. But let's pretend that I move it, and as it moves into integration, then what I maybe then I'm like, I could climb a mountain. Like, I don't know. But like,
it's probably easier than running.
It's probably true. But it pushes you to keep things in each category and notice how you're crossing things off.
Right.
So
right.
Okay. It's late. Any other questions? Okay.
It's almost 10 here.
Couple of days. I know it's gonna be. I know this piece about trying to let go of the thing is gonna be harder than you think. Journal through it. Come to the group. We are here. If you want to burn live in the group or whatever, please do it. Let us be part of your. We'll burn with you. If you are unsure what I'm talking about, I mean, journal it out and burn that piece of paper. There's something very cathartic about burning it because you're letting go of it. You're releasing it. Okay.
Or like we did in Melanie's pee on it.
You could pee on it. That is also.
You remember that?
I do. I totally forgot about that until you said that. We were both in a program, and she was talking about how people had like limiting beliefs and limiting thoughts. I feel like, and she's like, it's like just write it on toilet paper and pee on it. And so like that's also an option.
Really did.
Someone really did it. So if that's something that feels better to you than burning, maybe you're against fire and you would prefer to urinate on what you're releasing. That's urinate on your limiting belief. That's completely fine too. Whatever rocks your boat, as long as you release the sucker and you put it out into the world and you own this is something that's been holding me back. There's power in saying it out loud because it loses its power when you say it out loud. When you tell the group and you start putting it out there and you start like it's the fact that I let doing equal love for me is losing its power because I've said it so many times that it just sounds ridiculous. Okay, so bring it to the group. Use this container. Let's do this. You guys rock. I can't wait to hear all the celebrations, and I cannot wait to hear what crap you're peeing on or burning, however you decide to dispose of your crap.
I have a celebration before we stop because this is probably the first time that you've not seen boxes over here.
There aren't any boxes.
I can relate to that. That's awesome. I know what that feels like. That's massive. Yes.
Did you get rid of all the binders too?
Huh?
Did you get rid of all the binders for the organizational process you don't want to do?
No, those are still in a box.
Okay, perfect.
But I have a different idea for some of those, but otherwise I think I'm just going to take them to work because we go through binders like nobody's business.
I believe that. See if you can get reimbursed.
I will. She already told me. Perfect. But they were only $1 a binder.
Perfect. Plus gas. And your time.
Ciao, y'all.
Okay. You guys have the most amazing night. I will talk to you guys on Saturday. Well, I'll talk to you tomorrow in the group, but I'll see you Saturday.
Live long and prosper.
Yes, I can't do that. Bye.